Why even learn finance? When you take a step back, are you the type of person like money isn't everything? People with money are bad people. Do you think like that? Because I did. And I realized that it's all just a game. It's a game we're forced into playing. And being forced into something means, well, you don't really have a choice. Not having a choice, you can either, one, suffer by the game, or two, play the game to your advantage, to where you can eventually buy your way out of the game, so to say. So I want to break this down because a lot of people don't think that finance is everything, money doesn't really matter. But when you think about the core principle of America, what are we? It's just a big business. It's probably the best business, but when you think about quality of life, why is there so many bad ingredients in our food? Why is there so much promoted? Why is there so much fast food and easy food and the most obese people? Why is it the hardest to get decent financial? Why is it the hardest to get decent health care? Why does it seem like everything is so polluted? Because it's not really a country. It seems like we almost don't even have too much of culture. It's more of a business. And this corporation of America is a game. Treat it like a game. I love video games as a kid, so relating this to a game honestly is the best comparison I've done to have the most success in this. So what do I mean? I believe there's 4 stages of this game. Number 1, you have to realize there's a game being played. A lot of people go around just roaming the world, roaming this earth, not knowing basic financial literacy, which is the key component of the game. They think it's normal to trade your time for money in a job that you hate. They think this is normal and they keep doing it. They keep paying the taxes and they keep showing up week after week. And you've heard it before, with school just being a way of making you a good worker. They don't want you to be creative and go on your own path, do what actually inspires you, makes you happy. No, school prepares you to be a worker. Think about the regular 9 to 5, right? You get the 2 breaks, you get the lunch, you get a bell, tells you when to come in, clock out. Very, very similar to school, right? And why is it we couldn't express our ideas or we couldn't give any pushback when we wanted to question what our authority figure was saying? For example, our teacher. I remember being in high school, and I guess I was kind of woke at the time, but when I got so much pushback, it was always because I said so, right? When I tried to question their thoughts or their beliefs, oh, because I said so. And when you think about it, it's not even truly their thoughts or beliefs. They went to school for 4 years to basically embed another individual's thinking, and now are passing that down to us. And I've always questioned this when I was in school, and it never really clicked till I was out of it, almost like the Matrix, as they say. But just outside of that system, outside of the people that, when you look back, it's kind of like I see it happening. As in, we all walk in, we're all colorful, we all have our own ideas, We have big dreams. Like, in elementary school when people will say, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be in the NBA. All kinds of big dreams. Eventually, you get molded throughout the years, middle school, high school. We turn more gray and black and white, like all them colors, all the bright ideas that we had, they get kind of shut down. Oh, be realistic. No, you can't do that because I said you couldn't. Take the safe route. Okay, so where am I going with this? 4 stages. Realizing there's even a game being played. Then once you do that, now you got to learn the rules of the game. You can't play it yet. You got to know what's going on, right? You can't just be screaming out here demanding your way and expecting to get it, right? You can't just be going to your job and expecting your boss to just hand you out an extra paycheck for the week. We didn't trade your time for money. Something like that, right? So my goal is to help you learn the game, because that's where I'm at right now. Kind of learning it, kind of trying to play it, right? And so let me just finish the stages. Stage 3 is when you can play the game, and now it seems like it's all going in your favor. Stage 4, now you have the choice. You can leave the game, or you can try to alter the game, change the rules, right? So 4 stages. Know there's a game being played. Stage 2, learn the rules of the game. Stage 3, play the game. And stage 4 is now your opportunity to exit or try to fix the rules of the game. Okay? I like to break it down that simple. That's simple, man. It's just one big game, 4 stages. Right now, if you're listening to this, I'm trying to get you one. If you don't understand there's a game being played, let me wake you up to that real quick. But if we get to stage 2, where now you're learning the rules of the game, that's my main purpose in this channel. Because finance, think about it. We didn't learn nothing in school about no finances. I know I sure didn't. Finances is the number one way of power to actually control people. Get money, you can control yourself. You can control your environment, the people you care about. But if not, someone else is going to put that power onto you. They're going to have control over you. And now you might think, finance and being power? No. What about politics? Right? Those are the people that are in charge for making the rules, right? You think. Okay, what about history? Okay, history proves what worked and what didn't work. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, right? So surely you can see what worked back then for power and then use that. Maybe even you say psychology. Think about how everyday people, how their sales psychology, like the salesmen kind of have like the same techniques they try to put onto the masses, right? There's psychology with everything. Psychology with power, right? Just think get a good observation of how people think. And then you can kind of alter it, favor it in your own way. I think I took like a psychology course back in the day, but if I'm being honest, I cheated so much. Like, you got these 15-letter words trying to get me to understand with it. Like, no. And it was so boring, like stuff like that. But I think they were talking about, like, you have examples like libertarian or authoritarian, like stuff like that. You think psychology, right? Let's break this down. Go into politics. Okay, so you have a person in charge. That person in charge, well, surely they control what's going on in the world, what's the power movements going on. How did they get to power? How did they get that role of power in the first place? Money. Think about the donors, the people that are around him, even his own money, right? To get into that role. Maybe a governor's role, a mayor's role, the president's role, any role, right? It takes money to get to that level. You're not going to see this guy out here standing on a corner of the street light with a sign, yeah, vote for me, guys, vote for me. Come on, I'm trying to. And no, he's got money. He's got donors, right? Which comes down to finances. Okay, let's break it down to history. History is a good factor of kind of predicting the future, right? Like I said, it doesn't repeat word for word exactly how it is, but it rhymes. If you know, like the stock market, they kind of say it doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Kind of the same thing. Versus you look thousands of years ago, you look at the Roman Empire, what it was, kind of what led to power. Well, it was the money. They had enough currency of their own to alter the minds of the people. They fed them cheap dopamine, cheap entertainment. Here's some bread. Here's some gladiators fighting on the ring. Have at it. While they, the leaders, really had all the power and the control and did whatever they wanted. Okay? So that, and you can consider, I've never really been a big history guy because I don't know how someone's going to tell me the history of stuff from 100 years ago. Okay, you can give me the facts. You can tell me that there was a Roman Empire, there was gladiators and stuff like that. But as far as who was right, who was wrong versus wars, stuff like that, yeah, they taught us that in school. I remember, falling asleep in that class. But those altering history, I mean, you ever heard the saying, only the victors control history? Or only the victors write history? Only the winners write history. That's what it was. Only the winners write history. So I can't really focus too much on history to see how people lived back then to, okay, this is how I should live. I should do what they did back then and then I'd have a good life. No, because one, they could lie to you about it. And two, I mean, they probably don't even talk about it if you can find something on it, if I'm being honest. And then three, psychology. This is just what people believe at the end of the day. Money makes people act in certain ways, whether they like to admit it or not. If you're in desperation of survival, people kind of go to the extremes to getting their way. And I'm not going to talk about no extreme examples like that, but you can kind of grasp and I'm not even too familiar with psychology, so I'm not going to speak on it like I know about it, but you hear the different ways people think, especially I just think about sales psychology. I know there's different types of psychology. I just remember I legit took an intro to psychology course, and I couldn't tell you one single thing I learned from that. I'm pretty sure psychology was just talking about the different ways people think, like the Marxist ways, communism, libertarian, just the way people should live, I guess. But then at the end of the day, the control in that is having money. If you don't have the money, the finances, well, you're not going to be able to alter any way that people think into a way that they naturally believe. So it all comes down to learning finances. And it's the number one power tool, honestly. Look at our money now. It's not even backed by anything, but it's the most powerful currency in the world. If someone gave you a $1 bill, just said, here you go, just for nothing, you're not going to be like, bro, I don't want this. Why are you giving me it? All right, shoot, it's $1. Not going to give me too much, but you're giving it to me for free? I mean, whatever, I'll take it. Some random guy on the road, yeah, I'll take it, whatever. So, finances. It's very, very important to learn. And that's why I like to relate it back to video games. I've always loved video games. My first game was Modern Warfare 2 in about 2009. I remember playing it. It was summer break. It was at my aunt's house. Her boyfriend had it, and Like this dude had like a strict schedule because I used to be there all day, right? My mom was at work and stuff like that. So I was at my aunt's house and he would literally work probably like 7 to 3. 7 to 3. Same routine. Come home, 7 to 3, come home, heat some food up in the microwave. I think like one of them TV dinners or something, like 5-6 minutes in the microwave. He'd go take a shower. He'd get out, shower, go eat at the table. And then he would literally game all night. Like probably from like 5 or like 4 to 11, man. And whenever dinner was ready or something, I remember it used to be in the table in front of him when he was eating. And I would just be there. He wouldn't let me play or nothing. I used to, oh man, this is so cool. You know, he'd have his headset on and be a try hard and stuff like that. But of course, I mean, I'm a little kid. I'm trash. So he ain't let me play. But I was always watching it. I was always amazed by it. And since it's summertime, I used to hop on his game during, that 7 to 3 window. And I just fell in love with it. I wish I could have played it more, but he got mad about his KD being so bad. I'm like, bro, really? Because I don't even know. He was pretty good. He had like a 2 point something KD. But if you know game, that's a good KD. Screw what everybody else is saying. That's a good KD. And so I used to drop it down. Like if it went under 2, he used to spaz. So eventually this led me, I wanted my own 360. So I remember asking my mom that Christmas, and my birthday and Christmas is kind of like the same time. Unfortunate for me. But Christmas time came. I asked for a 360. That's when BO1, Black Ops 1 came out. Oh man, I got that 360, the black, like the slick edition, right? My aunt's boyfriend, he had the old white one. I think like the Red Ring of Death was popular with those. I got that nice slick black one. I was like, oh, it's so sweet. And I remember playing BO1. That's literally all I would play, right? And ever since then, I've been playing the CODs like since I grew up as a kid, right? That was kind of my childhood for sure. So anyways, just relating it back, that's why I've always loved games and finances. It kind of ties together. I like finances and I like games, so I like to mix them together. Finances, even in school, I never really liked school, if I'm being honest. Like I hated school, if I'm being honest. I probably hated school until like high school, because then it was cool to just mess around and be around friends and stuff like that. That's the only time I really liked it. But just like class and stuff like that, man, I hated it. But for some reason, my best subject was math. I don't know what it is. Numbers, math, it just came so simple to me. Like it was literally a snap, and I would grasp it so quickly. Like anything, trigonometry, calculus, algebra, college algebra. I was always like pretty good at it. And so like I barely even gave effort. I probably got A's, B's in it. Had I given like 60-70% of effort, I probably could have got an A every time, but I didn't, because I just always had like this feeling about school. I never liked it. So numbers, money, finance, games, grew up playing as a kid. Like you tie the two together. That's like my whole purpose of making this video, making this channel. I've dug into a rabbit hole of learning like literally everything of finance. Even in high school, I remember like doing all this research about credit cards. Back when the YouTube algorithm was way different. It was way different. You could search, okay, how to get a credit card, like beginner credit card, and it would give you a catalog. You could keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it would just be so much information on whatever you search for, right? When I search for that now, you might get 5 videos at the top, and then you scroll down and it's a completely unrelated topic. It tries to feed into your algorithm of stuff that you watched in the past. Okay, I'm trying to learn about how to open a credit card. Why, when I scroll down, it's telling me about the newest Fortnite update? or Call of Duty. Like, like just irrelevant stuff to what I'm actually wanting in the moment. But back in high school, this was way different, right? I could search, and I'd be watching like 20, 30-minute long videos, and I could actually sit there and watch them like at regular speed. This is before all the short form content came out. And that short form content is kind of what, kind of rewired my brain to, I couldn't even sit for a 10-minute video. But I realized once I got away from that short form content, I could start watching long videos again. So if you feel like you're watching short form content too much and you can't really watch long form, well, you can rewire your brain. It's easy. But I mean, it sucks at first. You have to go on a little detox. Go a month without watching it. I promise you can watch these 20, 30-minute long videos again. I mean, because my whole channel, I'm not too focused on just clickbaiting and getting people's attention. I honestly don't care about that, because I can't tell you all this valuable information in a 60-second short or 60-second reel. You have to be able to actually grasp a concept and sit there and listen to it and absorb it. And you just can't get that out of a 60-second video. You just can't. So yeah, I'm trying to make this whole channel just about finances, specifically tailored towards Gen Z, because I know these financial channels, you got these old guys and these lectures, and they just talk so boring, and I just remember falling asleep to them, to where I'd have to switch off the video and try to find someone else. So I'm trying to relate this down to where I could tell my younger self this. What is a way that he could understand and not be bored out from it? All right, maybe watching a Call of Duty gameplay he might like, and maybe, I can relate it to stuff in his life. I can relate stories back to him. So that's my whole purpose of this channel. Once you understand finance, once you understand all of it, from the money to the history to how to implement it in everyday life, you can finally feel a sense of control back in your life. Like, I just remember going to my job, trading my time for money, doing stuff that I hated, man. It was literally, I had all kinds of jobs. Worked at Amazon, worked as like a landscaper, did masonry, all kinds of stuff, right? And I traded my time for money. It was nothing I was passionate in. But I didn't understand, when I got money coming in, I really wasn't supposed to spend it all, right? Living below your means, treating money like a tool over, this higher thing than you, is truly how you can gain control back over your life. And that's basically all it is, right? Obviously, none of this is financial advice. I try to give relatable topics that are kind of interesting to learn, stuff you can use in your everyday life, stuff you can use in the future, even if you're just interested in the, let's call it, psychology of finance as a whole. I'm trying to break this down for Gen Z in specific. Obviously, anybody else can listen, but when you think about it, the boomers, they're leaving the work field. They're leaving this work era that is the biggest generation, right? I remember dropping off, because I drive truck and everything, so I drop off to all these like shipyards and factories, stuff like that. You got these older guys, and it's funny listening to their stories. I love listening to older people's stories. It's always so interesting to me. But they would tell you these old stories, and then they would tell me, like, they had like 7, 8 siblings. I'm like, what? Like, it's just so insane, because I don't know anybody now that has more than 3 or 4 max siblings, so obviously population a little bit less, but all these boomers, they're getting out of the work field. Us Zoomers are coming in, we're starting to graduate school. We're starting to actually get into careers that are making real money. And if not, we can develop and get skills to get into a higher paying career. But regardless, Zoomers are coming in, and we're not taught any of this stuff. I wish there was just a channel that just dedicated financial literacy for the youth. I'm not trying to go in big terminology. I'm not trying to sound all smart, sound like someone I'm not. Just so, what? You think I'm a fancy professor? No, man. Like, I'm an everyday dude. I'm your regular dude. And I believe more people should know this information, which is why, as I'm learning, this channel is actually the best thing for me to actually understand what I'm learning. Because in the past, I used to learn something. I used to do research, watch a couple videos, maybe Google, whatever. And then I would have a good understanding of it. But when I tried to explain it to someone like in my circle, I couldn't really explain it that well. Well, it was because I didn't really grasp it 100%. I might think I know of a topic pretty well, but then once I try to articulate it, I really don't know it that well. And these videos, once I put a video out on a topic that I did research on, and I can put that out there, oh, I know that topic so well now. I can tell it to anybody on the street. Versus making these videos, I can kind of just stop and pause and think about what I'm gonna say. Well, you know it's different versus being out on the street. You have this going on and that going on. You got the lights, the cars, people talking, looking at you, stuff like that, right? And you kind of lose your train of thought. That's exactly how I felt. So I couldn't really get my point off across. Like, nobody wants to have somebody sit there for 5 minutes trying to think of, what to come up with or how to put this in a language that someone would understand. So that's what I get out of this channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give a big overview of what this channel is. Why is finance even important? At least to me, right? Of course, this is just my opinion on the matter. But I think if you just take what I'm saying and just like think about it in your own way, relate it back to your life, question it. Like, is finance really #1 power tool? Is it not history? Is it not politics? The people that are in charge? Just question it. I'm not telling you one way to believe. When I'm given a factual video, like an intro to credit cards or learning about theories like the K-wave theory, I'm not trying to persuade you in a certain way because I try to keep my opinion out of it. Of course, it's just I relate it back to myself, so that might be opinionated. But at the end of the day, it's just facts I'm trying to bring out for you to question. You think about it in your life. Okay, is credit cards really important? Like, it doesn't make sense. Would they really give me free money if I use it? Stuff like that. I just try to give a big breakdown. So yeah, these videos are going to be a little bit longer. And I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of people to watch them. Honestly, because look at where everybody's going with the attention spans. Nobody can sit down for 20 minutes to listen to a video, a guy just yapping on YouTube. But the ones that do, I think can get the most value out of it. So that's my goal with this channel. And I appreciate you listening to this if you made it all the way to the end. Because I truly believe I can do great things with this channel and help so many people out that it's almost selfish of me not to make these videos. Because so many people are trapped financially and don't have a way out because they don't even understand that there is a way out. So that's all I got. Appreciate you listening. I'm out.